Hi there, Smart Drivers, talking tonight about social driving. The reasons why there are so many crashes because people believe they're right, and even though they're right, they're going to insist that they're in fact dead right. So, social driving, what is it? Following too close, speeding, tailgating. Tailgating and speeding, following too close, they're one and the same thing. Not managing space around your vehicle, not paying attention to traffic signs. All of the things that are counterproductive to defensive driving that are going to significantly reduce your chances of being involved in a crash. That's what we're going to talk about tonight, and we're going to give you tips and strategies to make yourself a safer, smarter driver. Few people are here already. Marion is here. Hello, my friend. Sebastian is here. Des Moines, Iowa, Midwest in the United States. And Marion is tuning in from the Sunshine Coast there. Elevator fan tuning in from Monticello, Indiana. And Ray is here. Malik is here. A few people are here already. So if you're tuning in now, let us know where you're tuning in from. And if you have a driver's license coming up, let us know when your driver's license is, what class of license you're going for, and how we can help you if you have any questions. Sean is tuning in from Brooklyn Park, Minnesota. Hello, everyone. And so social driving, how does it make you a safer, smarter driver? And as well, if you participate in social driving for the purposes of your driver's test, you are not going to be successful on your driver's test. So know that. No, I am back at home, Rick. I was just there for a few days. Okay, back at home. Awesome. Nalmic tuning in from Ontario. Damon is here from Surrey, British Columbia. Surrey, British Columbia, not Surrey in the UK there. Just checking in. Elevator fan, I've been seizure free for almost a month, and that is awesome news, my friend. It's always good to have your health for sure. I know that is, we get a bit older and whatnot. I was saying to the kids today, I walk a lot, and I was coming back from downtown, and there's a big hill, East Hill. I live in East Hill, and there's a reason it's called East Hill. It's not really a hill, it's my mom calls it. She calls it a mountain. But now that it's summertime and it's 25 plus degrees Celsius, which is like 85 degrees Fahrenheit. Every time I come up there, I have to come home and have a shower and change my shirt because I'm just sweating buckets when I come up over the hill. So alternative forms of transportation, I walk a lot because, to try and keep fit and try and do my part for the environment, those types of things. You don't need to be driving your car everywhere. So if you can drive or you can walk or bicycle or those types of things, it's definitely going to help out the environment and whatnot. More so than I think electric vehicles are, because I think they're going to be a fad. I think they're going to find in a couple of years that these things are not going to do what they want them to do, and they're going to be disappointingly failing in a couple of years. They're just going to find out that they're going to be so expensive to repair. The batteries are not going to be working. They're going to figure out how much it actually costs to outfit one of these vehicles, because they're not cheap. They're really expensive, and not to mention, replacement parts, and how much are you going to have to put in them to keep them going in a couple of years? Are they really going to, be the panacea that we're looking for in terms of the environment and zero emissions and those types of things? So, electric cars. There's my little dig at electric cars. Nalmic, if traffic was very heavy on the highway, can we stop in the acceleration lane, Niagara Falls, Ontario highway, for example? Absolutely not, Nalmic. No. No, you were in the wrong place to ask me that question. Never, ever, ever stop on acceleration lane. Okay, put your signal on, match the flow of traffic, and merge. Okay, if the traffic is really heavy, squeeze that left side of the lane and keep your signal on. Eventually, somebody is going to let you in. All right, never, ever, ever stop on an acceleration lane. Somebody is going to rear end you eventually. Damon, I hear it costs $10,000 for a battery on an electric car. Damon, I've heard that as well. For batteries on electric cars, it's not surprising. So, it's new technology, and new technology does not go well. I know that the kid's mother had a Tesla, and they only had it for 18 months because the couple of things happened to it. I think the steering pump went out of it. They stuck it on a diesel truck They shipped it 4.5 hours to Vancouver, fixed it, put it back on a diesel truck, and they sent it back here to Vernon, British Columbia. So a couple other things. Ray, electric cars still probably need a couple of more years before they become affordable. I don't know if they're ever going to become affordable. I was talking to a farmer last night, and I have been out of the farming industry for a very long time, since the 1980s, when I was last in the farming industry. And I mean, at that time, combines were expensive. I mean, in the 1980s, combines were $200,000. He was telling me last night that now a combine, a farm combine, is $1.2 million for this one piece of equipment. I was just absolutely floored at how expensive they were. Anyway, I digress. We're off on electric cars. We're off on farm machinery and other things and those types of things. But social driving, defensive driving, let's talk about that. Elevator fan, I've had to floor it on short acceleration lanes. Sometimes you have to gun it. Yes, elevator fan, you should be gunning it every time you get onto an acceleration lane. It is the one time that you are allowed to go NASCAR, okay? Get your foot into it, get it going. It's not even NASCAR, it's actually the quarter mile. Get your foot into the quarter mile. Get her going and get it up to speed, all right? That way you're going to keep yourself safe. Never, ever, ever stop on an acceleration lane. Marion, I'm scared of electric cars as a few of them have burst into flames. And yes, Marion, here's the question on Facebook. If an electric car bursts into flames, is it still environmental? Probably not. You know, I don't trust new technology, no matter what form it comes from. Whether it's electric cars, whether it's computers, the newest diddly-dad that comes out that's going to, you know, guarantee you all of the things in the world that are wonderful. I just don't trust it. I'm going to wait a couple of years until it comes out and it shows itself, you know, reliable and those types of things. Doverfield, electric cars aren't the future. It's cars with fusion generators. I'm not sure flux capacitors will catch on, though. Back to the future. Flux capacitors. Yes, I don't know whether they will catch on or not. Diego, how do you use the center turn lane? Left center turn lane. Okay, Corey is not here. I haven't seen Corey yet. Maybe Corey will show up. I forgot to tell Corey that I was moving it up a half an hour, so Corey will probably show up around 6. We'll get you the video on the left center turn lane, and we'll get you going there, all right? All right, so let's get over to the PowerPoint presentation here, and we'll get through that, and then we'll come back, and we will answer all your questions after that. So the way it works here, 10 or 12 minutes on the presentation, and then we come back and we spend the remainder of the hour answering any questions you have on passing a driver's test, being a safer, smarter driver, or starting a career as a truck or bus driver. All right, dead right driving. You can be right or you can be dead right. Social driving, that's exactly the question we're going to answer here, Joseph. What is social driving? Because I talk about it all the time. Social driving is what you're up against every day that you're out driving. It's all the goofiness that every driver does. There we go. When he or she is driving. They speed, they follow too close, they tailgate, they don't come to a complete stop at stop sign intersections, they fail to signal. Those are just some of the characteristics of social driving. And we're going to talk more about that. For those of you new to Smart Drive Test, my name is Rick August. I was a truck driver in the 1990s, hauled freight between Ontario, Canada, and the United States, drove buses for Greyhound and one of the regional bus lines in Australia. Became a licensed commercial driving instructor in 1997. Most of my driving instruction experience has been with semi-trucks and buses. However, I have done some stuff with some new drivers and those types of things, and know most of that stuff because you have to know all of that lower information, the car information, to do semi-trucks and to do buses and those types of things. That is applicable. So if you were thinking about going and getting your CDL license, all the car stuff is applicable to the higher class license. Know that. All right, 2006, I graduated from the University of Melbourne in Australia with my doctorate in legal history, which is the study of policing, courts, and prisons. My expertise is in policing as it relates to traffic. Fascinated by human behavior, what happens to humans, and how they drive when you put them in a motor vehicle. 2015, I started the YouTube channel, and it has been wildly more successful than I could have ever imagined. This year we're going to hit 300,000 on the YouTube channel, and helping lots and lots of people to be safer, smarter drivers and to pass their driver's test. Stuff to have a look at, driving near semi-trucks. For those new drivers who have some fear and trepidation of driving around larger vehicles, especially with summertime with RVs and camper trailers and those types of things out on our roadways, driving near semi-trucks and some of the skills and techniques that you can put in place to keep yourself safe. 8 reasons you will fail a driver's test. Check out the podcast over at the Smart Drive Test website, and that will give you information about reasons why you will not be successful on passing your driver's test. And all of those links are down in the description there. Definition of social driving. Social driving is the one thing that unites us as a human race, regardless of religion, race, politics, creed, or any other belief that you think separates you from every other person on the planet. Everybody who drives believes I am a good driver. Everybody else is the idiot, which is absolutely not true. But the other interesting thing about social driving is that when we're driving and somebody's going faster than us, they're a dummy, and somebody that's going slower than us is a bonehead. You ever notice that when you're driving? Indeed. Okay, we want to move people from being reactionary and retaliatory, because most people who are participating in social driving are in fact reactionary. They're reacting to other people because first and foremost they are too close to the vehicle in front of them, and they're hoping on a wing and a prayer that they're going to react in time to get themselves stopped. What you need to do is you need to increase following distance. You need to stop in traffic 1 vehicle length behind the vehicle in front of you. That way you have space. Space gives you time. Time gives you options so that you can respond to the changing traffic situations, not react, because you do not want to be reactive. Defensive driving, smarter defensive driving, is creating conditions so that you significantly reduce your chances of being involved in a crash when other people make mistakes and when you make mistakes, because we all make mistakes when we're driving. Okay, drivers stop too close in traffic and they stop too close to other road users. They do not give adequate space between themselves and other road users, particularly vulnerable road users, pedestrians, cyclists, e-scooters, skaters, motorcycle riders, all of these people who are going to die if you are in a crash. Motorcycle riders, for example, are 35 times more likely to be killed in a crash with a vehicle, whether it's a truck or bus or light vehicle or whatever. There's no fender benders on a motorcycle. Okay? We communicate poorly in traffic because we're driving nose to tail, and signals are a poor indication of what other traffic is doing. And I know that there are so many drivers out there that complain that other people do not signal, and no, they don't. However, the number one way that traffic communicates and road users communicate is the position that they are on the roadway or in relation to the roadway. For example, if a vehicle is in the right turning lane, there is a good chance that that vehicle is going to turn right. There's a high probability. If there is a pedestrian at the crosswalk waiting and pushing the button, there's a high probability that that pedestrian is going to cross the roadway. If a person is coming out, if a vehicle is coming out on the on-ramp and out onto the acceleration lane, there's a high probability that they're going to merge. Intersections, more than 40% of crashes happen at intersections. Map and track and scan intersections as well. This is the place where you're most likely to encounter vulnerable road users. You need to map and track and provide ample space between your vehicle and them to reduce your chances of being involved in a crash. When traffic slows, vehicles are even closer together because almost everyone follows too close. So the other indicator other than brake lights, again, we're relying on signals, but the position of the vehicle, how the relationship of vehicles to one another. If traffic is bunching up, it means that traffic is slowing down because the vehicles get closer together as the traffic slows down. One driver brakes on the highway, one driver brakes on the freeway, and everybody brakes. So bonnet to boot. Okay, that's the way we drive. Bonnet to boot. We're looking at somebody else's behind. And it's usually that we don't communicate well. Think of the number of people that you communicate when you're standing in the queue at the grocery store. You don't usually talk to the person in front of them because you're looking at their backside. It's the same thing with driving. Okay, too close in queues, you get rear-ended. The number one crash in the United States, even more so than insurance reported windshield claims, is rear-end crashes. The number one reported crash in the United States. That should give you pause. If tailgating or rear-end crashes are the number one crashes in the United States, it means that people are bloody well following too close. It's that simple, okay? People get rear-ended, bilateral control, and bilateral control is front and back. The space in front of your vehicle and the space behind your vehicles. And last year I was driving on the 401 in the province of Ontario here, and I found this as well in the United States on the interstate system, that there are a lot of phantom traffic jams because people are simply following too close, okay? Misperceptions. People think that they need to be right up on the bumper in front of them so that they can get more vehicles through on the limited amount of road space, when in reality it's exactly the opposite. If everybody created space around your vehicles, we would actually move more traffic through our congested cities. Okay, drivers fail to communicate. Going out and expecting other drivers not to do something goofy is like going to watch your favorite sports team and expecting the other team not to score. It's simply not a reality, okay? Sometimes they might not score, but for the most part, the other team is going to score. Okay, unpredictable actions are erratic and without warning, and this is why we get into crashes. And I'll talk to you about a report that I just finished up, a post-crash analysis report where the transit bus was involved. The transit bus actually wasn't involved. There was no damage to the transit bus, but the actions of the transit bus driver precipitated and caused the entire crash. Wasn't involved in the crash, no damage to the bus, but the bus caused the crash. And we'll talk about that and sequences of events that can lead you as well to be involved in a crash, i.e. cutting other drivers off, i.e. brake checking other drivers. And I'll tell you what brake checking is here at the end here. Okay, most drivers are reactionary and retaliatory, as I was just talking about, and I talked about that before. They follow too close and therefore hope on a wing and a prayer that they can react quickly enough that they don't get themselves into a crash. Okay, you want to create space so you're responding to traffic situations, not reacting. And as well, they're retaliatory. Other drivers get pissed off because you cut them off, you didn't signal, you're following too close, you're not going fast enough, and they tailgate and those types of things and whatnot and so forth. Okay, and this is where we get road rage. Road rage can be crowding, following too close, tailgating, honking, giving somebody else the finger, all the way up to road rage. And one of the things I was reading today in one of the government publications was, if you have road rage, it was saying, pick up your phone and phone the police. Okay, it's also saying honk your horn and get attention to your vehicle. Don't do either one of those things if there is a road rage incident, because you are not communicating with the person who's road raging directly, but you are communicating and you are ramping up the situation. If you just let everything go quiet, leave your doors locked, do not engage with the person, after a couple of minutes they will simply go away. Okay, because we can only be angry for a couple of minutes. Do not engage, do not phone the police, do not honk your horn or flash your lights or those types of things. Okay, and if you're in danger, just simply drive away, back up, go forward, whatever you need to do. Okay, we can talk more about road rage and strategies and techniques to put in place to keep yourself safe as well. Okay, following too close, failing to give way, and I'm right, you're wrong. Okay, these are firmly held beliefs of other people when they're driving. They believe they are right. All right, and they will follow too close and they will fail to give the right of way. And other people are on cell phones all the time. I can tell you that people are on cell phones. A few weeks ago, I watched a truck making a left-hand turn. We're talking about a semi-truck here, not just a light pickup truck. A semi-truck on the phone, texting while making a left-hand turn through an intersection. That is about as irresponsible as you can be. Okay? You don't get any more irresponsible than that. Good luck on your driver's test, and remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. All right. Erwin. Hi, Rick. I've been following for a while. Love your safety content and polls. Awesome. Thank you, my friend. Silas. Question. How do you judge when someone is about to do a turn in front of you? I usually have to slow down close to stopping with cars behind me to let the car turn. Generally, you can tell if they don't put their signal on, they're crowding whichever side of the road they're going to be turning. So if they're going to be turning left, they're going to be crowding the left side of the road. If they're going to be turning right, they're going to be crowding the right side of the roadway as well. Their speed is going to be changing, okay, in relation to where they're going to be turned. And they're approaching an intersection or a laneway or something like that. There's lots of clues that will tell you that the person is slowing down without them actually signaling. All right. BMS, by far most people think they are good drivers, defensive driving all the way, absolutely. Irvin, I frequently get the same issue in four-way stops. I usually only roll the car forward, only get gas after rolling for a few seconds when it's safe. Yes, and this is the thing. Most red light runners will run a red light or a stop sign a couple of seconds after you start to proceed through. Now, it's different at truck stops. Or not truck stops, at stop signs rather. Sorry. At stop signs, it's different. Traffic lights, it's usually in the immediate 2 seconds after your light goes green that the red light runner goes through. Therefore, engineers have put in a safety buffer. So your light, so from the time that the cross traffic light goes red, there's a 2-second delay from the time that your light goes green. And this is pretty standard across all traffic lights in the world. And the reason for that is because red light runners run the red light within 2 seconds of your light going green. So they put that safety buffer in there to try and prevent that and reduce the number of red light crashes. So that's what they're trying to do. What you need to do, as just said, roll forward, check the cross traffic, and when it's safe, then proceed. All right? At a traffic light, to keep yourself safe, before proceeding into the intersection, left, center, right, left again, and then go, because then it's clear and you know it's to go, okay? But a lot of people don't do that. As soon as it hits green, they just go. Or the other piece that they do is yellow lights. They accelerate through yellow lights. And we've talked about this before here on the live stream, and people just do it all the time. The light turns yellow and they are thinking that it is the end of a green and they're accelerating through that yellow traffic light. A yellow traffic light is the beginning of the red, not the end of the green, all right? And if you do that on a driver's test, if you accelerate through a yellow light on a driver's test, goodbye, see you next time, thanks for coming, all right? Al Trucker is always scanning in every direction, absolutely. Doverfield, I almost crashed because a woman decided to park near the entrance of a left-hand turn lane just to check her phone sooner. Yeah, people do all kinds of goofy things out there, and that's why we need to be mapping and tracking and scanning ahead as far as we can see, because other people are engaged in social driving. It's me first and whatever they need to be doing. And again, I come back to the community tab when I put up when are the times that you turn on your four-way flashers, your hazard lights, and you know, people are like, oh, you don't need to put your hazard lights on when you're on the side of the road. You know, you're checking your phone, you don't need to be doing that. And I'm like, yeah, absolutely you do, because other people are not paying attention. And it's the video on Twitter with the body cam of the police officer, and there's like all the emergency vehicles around, lights are flashing, and the tow truck, the deck tow truck, and the deck is up on the angle, and the person like hits the back of the tow truck and launches their car. It's like, how are you not paying attention to that? How on any planet are you not paying attention that you cannot see all of these flashing lights, and the person just like dukes of hazards their car over this tow truck, you know? So anything that you can do to keep yourself safe. If you pull over on the side of the road to check your phone or do something else, the kids are doing something goofy or whatever, make sure that you put your four-ways flashers on to indicate to other traffic that you are doing something unpredictable. Elevator fan, I have seen motorcycle wheelies in front of other cars. Yes, well, okay, let's just talk about motorcycles and people that drive pickup trucks. These are high-risk people. It's been shown that pickup truck drivers are more aggressive than other drivers on the road. It's the same thing with motorcycles. They're high-risk people. They ride motorcycles for a reason. People do not drive motorcycles because they want to be safe, okay? Because there are no fender benders on a motorcycle. There are no mistakes on a motorcycle. If you go down, you're probably going to get hurt, and pretty seriously. All right? Blake, did you guys know in Mississippi that you don't even have to take a test to get your license? Blake, how do you figure you don't have to take a test in Mississippi to get your license? Because that's not that's not my understanding anyway. So give me a source for that if you would, please. Nelmick, do you have tips on turning left from a parking lot to an intersection? I don't, but the idea is the same for left turning, and there's a left turn video here. Sebastian, Rick, what do you wish you could go back and tell your teenage self? Sebastian, not very much. I mean, if most of us make it through that first license phase from kind of 16 to 25 years old, I think we're all doing well, and we can carry on with that way. Blake, I got my license that way. So Blake, you went and got your license. You didn't have to take a learner's permit. You didn't have to take a driver's test. You just showed up at the DMV and they just like gift wrapped you a license. That's how that happened. That seems kind of odd. Marion, I am not working on being reactionary. It's getting better, but some days I still react more than I should. We all do, Marion, especially if we get tired or we've been driving for a while. We're going to react for sure. Yeah. Silas, someone is... Okay, we already answered that question. All right. Okay, excellent. Blake, I think it was a thing after COVID. Okay, probably it was a thing after COVID. It's not that way anymore in the state of Mississippi. I can tell you that for sure. Oh no, I took a written test. How many car licenses are there in BC? Nelmick, are you talking about car licenses? Like, I think there's a lot. Or are you talking about different classes of license, like ambulance driver, bus driver, semi-truck driver, those types of things? Because there's a lot of different licenses. But not like a driving test. Eli, any turning tips for new drivers? Yes. Turning tips for new drivers. Approach the intersection, position your vehicle. Is the turn legal? Okay, can you make the turn? There's no signs preventing you from turning left or any signs preventing you from turning right. Get your vehicle positioned. If there's a right turning lane, a left turning lane, take note of the traffic lights. Mirror signal shoulder check approximately half a block from the turn, and then mirror signal shoulder check. So you have to shoulder check 2 times for every turn. As you approach the turn, you got to wait for the cross traffic or the light to change, depending on whether you're at a stop sign, a yield sign, or a traffic light. Come to a stop immediately before turning again. You got a shoulder check, and then when the way is clear, then you can proceed, okay? You turn the steering wheel, approximately 1 turn for right-hand turns, maybe less than that for left-hand turns. You're going to make right-hand turns at approximately 10 to 12 miles an hour. Left-hand turns are going to be anywhere from kind of 15 to 25 miles an hour, depending on how big the intersection is. Turn the vehicle, look in the direction you want to go, and then accelerate, okay? And if you make a left-hand turn on a multi-lane road, you need to move back to the right. So that's kind of it in a nutshell. Pika, I just ended up getting my license here in BC at 36. I have epilepsy and am safe now to drive. You helped me a lot before my road test. Awesome. Congratulations, my friend, on passing your driver's test. And thank you for dropping back and letting us know that you were successful. Congratulations on being seizure-free. That is really, really great news, my friend. Toxic, hello, my friend. Alex, why do police escalate traffic stops? Okay, I'm not sure what you're asking me there, Alex. Can you reword that, and I can answer that for you. David, isn't rushing a pedestrian to cross something that some people do and an automatic fail on a driver's test? Yes. crowding, rushing pedestrians is definitely a automatic fail on a driver's test. If you are closer than 3 feet, 1 meter from a pedestrian or vulnerable road user, you are definitely too close to that road user. Okay. Now, Mike, put your left turn trick is very beneficial. Okay. I don't know which one you're referring to there, but glad we can help you out. All right, so we're gonna head over to the community tab here. I want to kind of go over a couple of things of quizzes that I put up. Here's the quiz from last night about stop sign stopping positions, and only 65% got this right. And I did not bait you. I did not try and trick you with this one as I had with other ones. Definitely have a look at this video down here if you didn't get the answer correct. There are 3 stopping positions at stop sign intersections. Only 3% said to stop at the stop sign, which I was happy about because the position of the stop sign has nothing to do with this. All right. Behind the stop line, behind the crosswalk, and then B and C are correct. B and C are correct. So there's 3 stopping positions. Behind the stop line, behind the crosswalk, or sidewalk. If those 2 conditions don't exist, then at the edge of the road just before entering the intersection. So you come to a complete stop behind the stop line. If you can't see, as you can't at most intersections, then roll forward and treat it as a yield. Now I'm going to try and find something else here for you because this is a really good example. Bear with me 1 sec. Of course it didn't work. Get my little guy here and drag him. I always feel like I'm hanging him when I drag him. 8th. Here's 8th. Okay, so this is the intersection I want. All right, so one smart driver. Who's the smart driver here? Let's see if I got this. All right. 525 here asked me this question because he was asking me about there was a pedestrian crosswalk and then the stop line was after the pedestrian crosswalk, as you can see here. Okay, so there's the crosswalk. There's the stop line up there. And actually, if you go up here and you look here, I love Google Maps. Just, oh my God, how did we ever live before this? There's actually a service road here. Okay, so here's the service road, and then there's a main road here. The stop sign is at the main road. You're not stopping for the service road because if we go over here, the service road is one direction. You can see the one direction sign here. And then back here, if we go back here, God, I love this thing. It's so cool. There's a stop sign on the service road here, so the traffic on the service road has to stop for this road, okay? So this is the major road, the service road is the minor road, and then this is the major road, all right? And the question the smart driver asked me, which was just a tremendous question, and this is one of the great things I love about the Smart Drive Test YouTube channel, is like there are so many different traffic variations that I just possibly can't give you the answer to every question. So whenever smart drivers ask me a question about this, I always say, send me an address. And 525 sent me the address, and I am so happy they did, because the way that you would deal with this is if there are pedestrians in the crosswalk or pedestrians waiting to cross, you would give way to the pedestrians in the crosswalk. If there's no pedestrians, because you're scanning as you're approaching the intersection, you would drive past the pedestrian crosswalk, and then you would stop at the stop line, wait for traffic to clear, and then proceed. Okay, so that's how you deal with that intersection. I hope that a lot of people learn something from this, because I definitely did. I had to kind of think about it a little bit, and I had to check out the intersection and where the signs were and those types of things. But it was an absolutely awesome question for stop sign positions at intersections. So thank you for that. So we'll get back here and I'll answer a few questions here. Corey's here. I do apologize, Corey. I didn't let you know about that. So my apologies. Sebastian, there are folks who made it past 25 and say they would tell their younger self not to care about others' opinions and save more money for future emergencies. Sebastian, one thing that I would do if I had to do it over again was I would spend more. I would have invested more money in real estate, but we're past that. So it is what it is. Okay. I like Google Maps. I have gone for a drive on Google Maps. Yes, I just absolutely love it. It makes my work so incredibly easy. Nalmic, follow these steps to turn left and do a little jig jog vid. Yes. And Mallory is here. I haven't said hi to Mallory. It's been very busy here on the live stream. So welcome everybody. Welcome Mallory. Thank you. Mallory is one of the mainstays, one of the smart drivers here that shows up to all the live streams. So we do appreciate Mallory being here. Okay, Alex, how do you deal with people who tailgate you when you go the speed limit? Alex, it's going to happen, unfortunately. And if people are tailgating you, you need to increase following distance in front because you want to not make aggressive movements. For example, braking and those types of things. Signal early. If you're in the left lane, move back to the right lane. If there's a place that you can pull over and let them pass, then do that. Just pull over and let them pass and go and have their crash somewhere else. Ray, when I was doing driver training, I think I got your advice mixed up since my car hood ended up sticking out into the intersection. Thankfully, no cars. And that's how we learn, Ray. We make mistakes every now and again. It's not a huge deal, but every now and again. All right, so going back here to the community tab. So we had that question. Oh, I got to get back here. Bear with me here. All right. The thing is not doing what I want it to do. Clicky, clicky, clicky. Lots of clicking. All right. Because there was a question I wanted to go over yet again. Because this is the one that I baited you on. All right. This one here, 55%. Okay, this one still surprises me. 4,500 people answered this question. Okay, what is the speed you must drive for a DMV road test? Only half of people got the answer correct. Okay, 25%, more than 25% of people thought it was the posted speed limit. And yes, that is correct, but it's not the best answer, okay? And again, multiple choice questions. There is a distinct skill set that you need to have for multiple choice questions. First of all, read all the answers. Second of all, don't be duped by all of the above, because I had one smart driver about a week ago say to me, oh, my instructor said to me, if there's all the above, then it's going to be all the above. Well, I just stick that in there for you because I like to try and trick people. And so it's not all the above, even though 16% thought that it was. And keep up with traffic flow. So only 3% answered keep up with traffic flow because that's not correct, because according to social driving, as we know, okay, traffic flow often travels 5 to 10 miles an hour over the posted speed limit. So that's not the right answer. So therefore, as I said, most of the time with multiple choice questions, you can almost always eliminate 2 of the 4 answers. So we just did that because we know that keep up with traffic flow isn't correct because only 3% of people answered that question. Smart drivers answered that question. So therefore, it's not all of the above. Okay, so it's between posted speed limit, or the flow of traffic, whichever is less. Okay, so a flow of traffic is only driving 20 miles an hour in a 30 mile an hour zone. You can only drive 20 miles an hour. You can't drive 30. So it's C is the correct answer on that. So know that I'm being kind of a stinker with these multiple choice questions. So make sure that you read the question, you pick out the key words. The speed you must is a key word. I put it in capitals for you. Drive for your DMV road test, Department of Motor Vehicles, okay? And then which 2 can you eliminate? Read all of the answers before you select the answer that may or may not be correct. Okay? Getting back over here, answering questions. Elia, have you ever been in a crash? No, I'm fortunate that I have never been in a crash. I know a lot of people who have been in a crash. And most of us know somebody else who has been in a crash. And the other interesting part about this, and I talked to a lot of people about this, which is interesting. If you got into a crash on a bicycle, you would probably never get back on a bicycle. If you get into a crash on a motorcycle and are injured, you would probably never get back on a motorcycle. And I talk about this in the fear and anxiety video that I was run over by a bus on my bicycle when I lived in Australia. It's amazing what a 27-ton bus will do to a 27-pound vehicle or 27-pound bicycle. Interesting, I was going through an intersection and I got up beside the bus and the driver went to park the bus at the curb and hit me on the shoulder and ran over my bicycle. The interesting part about that is that after that, I had another bicycle. I borrowed somebody's bicycle or whatnot. I was pretty leery and I had a lot of trepidation about riding in traffic after that for quite a number of weeks. But I knew that if I didn't get back on the bicycle, that I probably would never ever in my life get back on the bicycle again. So I kind of forced myself to get back on the bicycle and to ride in traffic. But I was pretty I had a lot of fear about it. I wasn't, go and be completely cavalier about the situation after I get run over by the bus. That's for sure. Me, I almost hit a kid on a bike when I was turning right at a stop sign, came out of nowhere. I waited too, but he came out of a bush. Yes, and that happens to me, unfortunately. My daughter ran into a car. The car didn't run into my daughter. My daughter ran into the car. Now, fortunately, everything was good. She was fine and whatnot because the car wasn't moving very fast. In Wingham, where my mom lives in Ontario, we were at the ice cream shop and she was excited. She got her ice cream and she was young. She was probably 7 or 8 at the time. She came out of the shop and just like saw my mom on the other side of the road, and it was like a kind of a side road that the ice cream shop was on, and she just ran straight out, didn't look, and the car was going slow because it was like almost right at the stop sign, and she just come out and she just like ran right into the side of the car. And I was like, I just looked at my daughter and like, you okay? Yeah, she's like, I'm okay, because she didn't even fall down. I mean, that's how minimal the impact was. But the woman driving the car, I thought she was going to have a coronary. I thought she was going to have a coronary because my daughter just like come out of the ice cream shop and just like ran into the side of this car. So it happens. Mistakes happen, okay? I am never going to blow sunshine up your bum and say that there isn't anything called an accident. Okay, because there are accidents. There are situations when we drive that are accidents. Okay, things happen that we cannot control. However, that's only, in my professional opinion, is only about 8% of the time. The other 92% of the time, there is something we could have done to prevent that crash. All right, and that's why I get paid a lot of money to write reports to investigate and figure out who's liable for crashes. Damon, have you ever visited Greater Vancouver? Yes, we were just in Greater Vancouver at Port Coquitlam on the weekend. My kids went to a jiu-jitsu tournament there. Silver and gold. Did awesome. Doverfield, you've shown us how to drive defensively, but can you show us how to drive offensively? Doverfield, okay. People think that when I talk to them about managing space around their vehicle, that you're going to drive like, driving Miss Daisy. That you're not driving offensively. You're not getting anywhere quickly. And that is completely the opposite. I am probably one of the fastest drivers on the roadway because I drive fast. I like going fast, and I hate it when people get in my way. But I will never compromise space around my vehicle and give up that safety margin, okay? I will always have that space, but I am the one that is in the hammer lane and I am giving it, okay? I drive fast. I like to drive fast, but I will never compromise my driving fast for giving up space around my vehicle. I always have that space in front of my vehicle. I always stop in traffic one space behind, but I drive fast. So when people say to me, oh, you're driving defensive and you're all namby-pamby and you're like driving Miss Daisy, blah, 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 and you're not going anywhere, oh my God, you might as well drive a Model T Ford. That's not true. I drive fast. When I drove a big truck, I drove fast. But I never gave up that space in front of my vehicle. I always maintain that buffer of space in front of my vehicle. I'm always mapping, scanning, tracking, and I am staying out of clusters on the roadway. I just don't do that, okay? So don't think for a minute that just because you're being defensive, that you're driving slow. That's not what defensive driving is, okay? Don't get that confused. Marion, I did that as a teenager. My head was down because heavy wind. I was on my bike and rode into the back of a parked car. Yeah, Marion, you're not the only one. I've seen a few videos of cyclists with their head down and they ride into the back of a car. Yeah, it happens. Nelmick, if the speed on the road is 50 kilometers an hour, what speed should you be in if you're in the left lane? 60 to 75? No, you should really just be keeping up with traffic flow. And Nelmick, if you don't have your driver's license, you need to be driving the posted speed limit, okay? Don't drive faster than the posted speed limit. What is the hammer lane? Oh, okay. Elevator fan, that's the left lane. It's the passing lane. It's what we call it in truck driving vernacular. The hammer lane, the bumper lane. They even call it in truck driving, if there's 3 lanes and you're out in the left lane, it's called the big dollar lane because you're not supposed to be out there with a semi-truck and the police will pull you over and give you a fine. So it's also called the big dollar lane. Nelmick, watching different driving YouTube channels teach their methods on the same topics, a little confusing for me, but beneficial. Yes. It's the same thing with driving instructors and driving schools that move students around between different driving instructors. As I say to people, especially when I was teaching truck driving, you show me 50 driving instructors, I'll show you 50 ways to drive a truck. Okay? No two are going to teach you to drive a truck in the same way. Alex, what are those flashing green lights at intersections in Canada? Alex, it's actually only in the province of British Columbia. I haven't seen them in any other province. They might be, but I haven't seen them in any other province. Here in the province of British Columbia, flashing green lights are pedestrian-activated traffic lights. And actually, I think they're way safer than crosswalks and those flashing orange lights and those types of things. Way, way safer. Pedestrian-activated flashing traffic lights. So you go up, push the button, and the light changes like a normal traffic light, and then you go and you proceed and cross the roadway. All right. 2024 in Walnut Creek, California has crosswalks that had too many people overtaking cars that had yielded to pedestrians in the crosswalk. Lane dividers has since been added to prevent that. Okay. Yes, and sometimes engineers have to mediate problems between different road user groups so that you can keep traffic moving, because keep in mind that traffic is about the fundamental conflict of crashes versus congestion, okay? And when I'm talking about congestion, I'm talking about traffic flow. How much volume of traffic can we move through that roadway per hour? Are we moving enough traffic? Versus safety, crashes, collisions, okay? We can move this much traffic on this section of this type of roadway at this speed and do it safely, and this is the acceptable number of crashes that we can have on that road. As opposed to, if we have too many crashes, we have too many pedestrians being hit and struck by cars, then we're doing something wrong and we have to change how the infrastructure is or the speed limit on that section of roadway. And fear has something to do with all of this as well, and we see this with school zones, school speed zones, and we see this with speed limits along parks and those types of things. We're reducing the speed limits. We have a park down here 2 blocks from where I live. Speed limit is 20 miles an hour all day, sun up to sundown. Okay, and it's probably the same thing in the States and those types of things. Sergeant, one time a pedestrian intentionally crossed an avenue when it was green light. The idiot was laughing. And Sergeant, they're going to do that all the time. They're going to do that. People are going to cross against the lights. It's socially acceptable, and it's part of social driving, social road use, I guess, is what we might call it. Crystal, is it better to take the online permit test or take it in person? Crystal, it depends on your own personal preference. Whether you prefer to go down to the DMV or whether you would prefer to take it online. My friend Big Mac Sam is here. Hello, my friend. How are you in the Bronx? Is it hot there? Because it has been hot here the last few days, and today it was only 26 degrees, which was very nice. Finally, a few degrees less. 26 degrees Celsius. What's that in Fahrenheit? Somebody Google that for me if you wouldn't mind. I think it's about 80 degrees. It was about 78 degrees, 80 degrees here today, which was much nicer. Barbara, I ran into a parked RV on my bike when I was looking down and had to get a chiropractor to unlock my jaw. Ouch. Ouch, ouch, ouch. That sounded like it was painful. Elevator fan, I've seen drivers pass on the right and not flash their brights on left lane squatters. Yeah, they do that as well, because sometimes we just get upset with people that refuse to get out of the left-hand lane, for sure. One more. Okay, excellent. Sam. Much better that the smoke is not here. Was that your first time, Sam, with the smoke? Because we have it every August, and it's coming again. Every August, man. It's forest fire season here in British Columbia, and there is smoke from everywhere. And the other piece about it, 78 degrees. Thank you, my friend, for that. I saw the pictures, and I was chuckling when I saw the pictures, Sam, about the smoke. We have that, like I said, every August, and not only that, the fine people of Oregon and the fine people of Washington State and Northern California, they send their smoke up here too, so we get it all. And there are times, like the mountain here is, I don't know, a couple of miles away from where I live, and there are times that we cannot see the mountain because of the smoke. All right, and don't mean to laugh, but yeah, we've had it. Doverfield, you can take the written exam online. I wish I had known that. I hate the DMV. Doverfield, there are some states that are now allowing you to take that online. I don't know which states there are, but there are some. Big Mac Sam, I heard that we should get used to it. I don't think so, Sam. It's an oddity for the Eastern Seaboard. Both the United States and Canada have forest fires. And, I am kind of leaning towards the conspiracy theory that people started these forest fires. Because there have never been forest fires in the East like that before. They just get way too much precipitation for forest fires to take hold like that. That was very weird. I mean, here in the West, you have to understand, we live in sub-desert. It's beautiful right now because everything's green and lush. But in another 2 weeks, everything here will be brown. And I mean brown and dirt dry. And it's just a tinderbox. And that's why we get forest fires. But in the East, they get so much precipitation that it just prevents forest fires in the way that we have them here. All right? Blake, so I found out that if I cut my dash lights on, and it forcibly turns my interior lights on, not letting me cut them off. Would you know why this is? Blake, no, that sounds like an issue for a automotive technician. That sounds like somebody you might need to go to a mechanic because it can't help you. Sebastian are on their phones sometimes. Sebastian, lots of people are on their phones. Absolutely. Alex, I prefer the hybrid traffic beacons in the U.S. with the 2 flashing red lights versus the one you talked about in Canada. Okay, excellent. So I haven't seen those. I'll have to look those up for sure. And Elevator says it rained there in Indiana. Okay. Marion, Rick, you haven't had any rain today. We got a good sprinkle here this morning. We did have a little bit of rain here, not a lot. Retired, hello, my friend. All right, I think I have the book up here. I'm just going to give you a preview of the book, Driving Test Secrets, which is, I promise you, is going to be up on Friday on Amazon, and I will send a link. And the other piece about it is it's going to be free to the first 100 people. And in exchange, well, it's not free. Okay, nothing is ever free. We always want something from you, whether it's your money or your time. And I am asking for your time and help with Driving Test Secrets. Here you'll find the hidden skills and abilities that will guarantee you pass your driver's test the first time. All right, nice picture here. Driving instructor helping, and she passed her driver's test first time. Table of contents. Okay, so here's the table of contents. About me. You can learn more about me, and there's a nice picture of that good-looking guy right there. Oh, I'm good-looking. And this is Gavin, one of the drivers that I helped get his license, and Gavin actually does a bit of work for me here. So there's Gavin, collisions versus congestion. I explained that in the text, so you can have a look at that. There's the end. We didn't want to go to the end. Nope. Home. There we go. All right. Automatic fails, too many demerit points, unexpected events. These are all related to your driver's test. If you go to automatic fails, driving's fundamental conflict, and then a list of not stopping for emergency vehicles, automatic fails, yellow lights, entering an intersection you can't clear, and so on and so forth. The other piece about the book is I put these bits in text here to give emphasis to this. School zones don't apply during the summer and spring breaks and on weekends and all other times that students are not attending school. Okay, so speed zones are only in effect when school is in session. All right, and then lots of images, lots of captions on the images, and headings, subheadings, and text that's easy to read. So this is what we've done here with the book. All right, other pieces of the book. So these are all related to this, anxiety and fear, if you have that around your driving. Traffic signs, I went over the most important traffic signs, cautionary signs, regulatory signs. Traffic signs are to driving what instructions are to an IKEA cabinet. Only when drivers get into trouble do they pay attention to the traffic signs, all right? All right, school zones are school pedestrian crosswalks. Speed signs, other regulatory signs, stop signs in different languages. If you're in the state of Louisiana or in the province of Quebec, they will be in French, the language of love, and arrête, it means stop. Okay, so we have that chapter. What else we got here? And we got social driving. We talked more about that in detail. How to get your learner's permit. We talked about that on the community tab. And we talked about skills that you need to pass multiple choice questions. Must know car parts. I took over some of this for some of you to help you out with your cars. The ignition, the push button on start, steering wheel, transmission, gears in the transmission, the steering wheel, whatnot. So lots of car parts that you need to know. Applying the parking brake. Apply the parking brake every time you park the vehicle so that it's in the same place when you come back. Basic driving skills, older learners, what to do on your test day, and then the glossary is the last piece. We go over the terminology, 2-point reverse turn, two-way stop signs, ABCD pillars in your vehicle, and we talk about all that and give you definitions for all of those terms on your driver's list. So that's a quick overview of the book. Driving Test Secrets, which will be up on Amazon, I promise you, by Friday. It's been a busy week. There's lots going on here. So we'll do that and we'll help you out. Conduit Facile. I don't know whether Conduit Facile is from Quebec. I think that he is. Okay. Excellent. Thank you, my friend Sam, for that endorsement. Barbara, I used some of the advice for driving that share online, like using the crosswalk line as a guide to stop at the crosswalk just after the nose of my car. Awesome. So glad that we can help out. So there's traffic, light traffic. Okay, so Nelmic, most of the time, after morning rush hour, 9 a.m., 10 a.m., you're usually going to be pretty good for the amount of traffic that's going to be on the roadways. Had any rain today? Okay, we talked about that. Alex, I learned to pass the test by watching lots of YouTube videos. Awesome, so glad that we can help out. Excellent. Elevator, do I have a cat? No, we don't have a cat. We have one that lives outside, but he doesn't come inside, and my neighbor has a cat. So those are the only cats we have. Okay. Excellent. All right, so we're going to get going here. If you have any more questions, leave a comment down in the comment section. Check out Pass Your Driver's Test First Time over at the Smart Drive Test website. Guaranteed to pass your driver's test first time. As well as a bonus, we throw in both the winter and defensive driving smart courses and to keep you safe after you get your license. So check that out. You can pick it up for about $38 US over at the Smart Drive Test website. And yes, it's puppy time. Puppy is worn out. He is sleeping here on the mat, so he's not going to be very impressed. Striker! Come on, up! Oh, the little dog. The little dog. There's the little dog. Yeah, he's not impressed. Can you say hi? No. Snort, snort. So, I'll tell you the funny story about Striker. So this morning I took him in to get his nails cut with this wonderful woman who, cuts nails for $5. And I come into the shop. She comes out from the back. She's looking at Striker. She's like, oh my God, he's so cute. Oh my God, he's little Striker. And she just picks him up and walks off. She doesn't even say hi to me, ask me what I want done, or anything else. She just goes and starts cutting his nails. and just brings him back, and I give her the money, and she's just like, oh, bye. And she's like, oh, here's a treat for him. And she gives me this treat that's like huge. It was just like the most interesting experience. So, you passed your driver's test in the last couple of weeks. Congratulations. If you have a driver's test coming up in the next week or so, good luck on that. And if you have any questions, leave a comment down in the comment section. And remember, pick the best answer, not necessarily the right answer. Have a great night. Bye now. There you go. You can go back and have your nap now.